So recently I had a revelation. I suck at drawing heads. I know, it's horrific. But just when all hope seemed lost and I was about to quit art, I came across a video of someone trying to get better at drawing heads in a week. And just then, just like that, something strange happened. I got an idea. What if I do that? The only problem is, I have exams in like 2 days. So... Now the head is a very important part when it comes to drawing characters. Not just because it's a part of the body, but also because it's where we draw the face, which is typically the focal point of most drawings. Which means you can't have it coming out like this. Now, I've been drawing for years, so obviously I'm no beginner when it comes to drawing heads. No, I just suck at them. And I think I've always been bad at them, but for a couple of years, until recently, at least I was content with them, you know? I think the reason I've started to hate the heads and faces I draw is because I've been drawing them differently. I've been going out of my comfort zone when drawing them, and it's probably because I've started to develop my own style. So to summarize, I'm pretty much in this transition period right now, where I feel like I've started to draw again for the first time, because I'm rethinking the way of drawing everything. Noses, eyes, lips, hair, face/head structure, and the rest of the body too, but that's not the focus of this video. So when I say I want to master heads and faces in one day, what I really mean is that I want to be content with any head/face that I draw. I want to look at it and not be disgusted. And since I am under a time crunch, we should probably get started with step 1. Step 1. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is looking at real life references and trying to draw them in my own style, but also kind of realistically. I don't want it to look too different from the reference. Point of this, other than to give me practice drawing from real life heads, is to see where I'm at for a frame of reference, since all the photos I've already shown were from a little while ago. First up, we got this guy. It's kind of in like a three-quarter view. Okay, so just to break down my technique, what little technique I do have, the way I start drawing my heads is always the same. I draw a circle, and then I do the vertical line of the face, you know, the thing that like determines where the front, middle of the face is, the head, whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And after that, I always do the jaw first and the sides of the face. Now, what's different about this drawing though is because I am doing it from reference, I can't really do it how I normally do it, because I'm trying to make it a bit more realistic and then obviously make it look like the reference itself. So yeah, that was kind of hard for me because I never really draw anything from reference. I never really look at an image and try my best to try and draw it, especially not realism like I'm doing here. So yeah, I do suck at drawing heads, but the reason I suck a lot more this time is because it's a realistic face. Anyway, then we see me do the nose. If I ever need to be detailed about the way I draw a nose, what I normally do is I draw a big like circle and then I draw the details of the nose on top of it. And yeah, that's how I do noses. My lips, I tend to draw the full top lip, but not the bottom one, and then shade the top one. You don't see me do that here because I was trying to make it look like the image. And I do kind of a similar thing for the eyes, where I draw the eyeballs and I try to draw the eyelids on top of that. So yeah, that's me trying to kind of explain my drawing process for this first one, I guess. Do I think it turned out great? No. Not only does it not look good in terms of the reference that it's based on, it also just doesn't look good in general. The biggest reason for that is probably the lips, because I outlined them so heavily. You know, maybe it was too soon to go on to a three-quarter view, you know? When you're learning it first, you have to start with the basics. So let's do a front view. Drawing number 2. This is actually a rare instance of me drawing a female. But yeah, this time it was a front view. I did what I normally do, which is draw a circle and then draw the jaw and the sides of the face. Then I went on and straight away did the eyes. I used to think that like front view was the easiest, the other angles were harder. But now front view is like the most difficult because I don't know, I have to make sure everything is like symmetrical. I don't know how I did it when I was new to drawing. Tried to do the nose. I don't think the nose turned out too great. Again, it's because I'm not really used to having to do like realistic depictions of things. This is really bad. Okay, I don't know what the What is this? There's not much to say about it. I just don't like it. You can see me like start tweaking certain things by using like the transform tool. I even got rid of the guidelines as if that was the problem with it. Although looking back, because this was recorded a while ago, I don't hate it as much as I did when I was actually drawing it. So I don't know if that's a good sign or not. Maybe I've devolved. Okay, drawing free. I wanted to give myself a little break after the atrocity that was drawing 2. So I decided to do a side profile, which is arguably easier because you don't have to worry about the other half of the face. I did the same thing that I always do still with the circle and the line. The horizontal line as well, which I don't think I talked about. I use it for determining where the eyes are. Now, I had a lot of trouble with his nose here. I kept on like adjusting it, making it like bigger and like shifting it up. If there's any takeaway from the free drawings I've already done, it's that I'm not good at noses. It's probably the thing that ruins most of my drawings. But yeah, I think out of the free, this one was probably the best. It wasn't perfect by any means, no, but it wasn't as bad as the other 2. Okay, so in total, on those free drawings, I had spent way more time than I needed to, or that I should have. So what I decided to do afterwards was do the same thing in terms of reference, but try and like speedrun it, like do it as fast as I could. I did another 2 like that. I decided that I still wasn't fast enough. Since I do only have a day to do this, I need to be able to pump out as much practice as I possibly can. So I need to be very speedy about the way I do things, and I need to prioritize quantity over quality. So I did 2 trying to do it fast, and when I decided that wasn't quick enough, I decided to ignore the facial features and focus on the actual structure of the head more and trying to get it right. But yeah, I think those ended up pretty good. So I guess what I can learn from this is that my main weakness is facial features, not so much the structure of the head, and that is the end of step 1. Step 2. So now I'm gonna do what I probably should have done first, and that is look at tutorial videos. The reason I didn't is because there probably isn't much I can learn from beginner methods, but then again, I do tend to not treat guidelines with as much importance as I should. So first like method video I'm watching is this guy, Nero. Tell me why he's going like step by step, right? You know, he's going about it so nice, right? Giving us numbered grids and stuff. Then he starts drawing the features. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And then... Huh? Look! How? How? What? And then in the span of like 2 seconds, what? Nah, I'm pretty sure it's just the brush he's using. Alright, so he said to draw cubes from different angles and then like little spheres inside of them. I can do that. The student have become the master as soon as I get this one line right. Can you guys spot the difference between mine and his? Probably not. So what I think this method is trying to teach me is that I need to think more three-dimensionally. To have three-dimensional looking heads, we need three-dimensional heads ourselves. Tell me that's not hard. Okay, this box might be a little loose for the circle, but you know what? I just wanted to give it some space. Yeah. Perfect. I surprise myself sometimes with my drawing capabilities. Okay, so I guess before I go forward, I should probably say what the method is. It is the Loomis method. Okay, so to explain what the method is that I'm doing here, it is called the Loomis method, as I already said. It is by far the most popular way of drawing the head, or at least simplifying its proportions with like guidelines and stuff. So basically, imagine you have a sphere, then you cut off 2 slivers, so it comes out looking like a very fat wheel, like a cheese wheel. That is basically the cranium. And yeah, there's a lot of like guidelines surrounding the circle on each side of the wheel. You draw 2 perpendicular lines, and one of them is like shows you the brow ridge, one of them is like the ear and like helps you with the jaw. It's kind of hard to explain, so you have to look at a video. I'm only just learning it, so I'm not fit to really explain it. But yeah, that's the method that I'm learning. You know what? It's okay. With a little bit of practice and a little bit of perseverance and you hitting the like button, I'm sure I can do this.
20 minutes later.
Okay, that looks very bad. Alright, next up, I'm watching this video from BNG Studio. Wait, I think I've seen this before. I used to do something like this for a while. Okay, I'm seeing the same trend now across everything I've done, and it's that they use the Loomis method semicircle. Okay, so now to explain this method that I'm doing, it is called the paper method. It's kind of derived from the Loomis method. You still use a sphere and cut the slivers off it like the Loomis method for the front of the face and the jaw. Just imagine a piece of paper curving around the front of the sphere and like dangling off. And yeah, I really like it. I really like this method. And keep in mind that I've literally only used it once so far. Yeah, so I personally like it a lot more than the Loomis method. It's a lot easier to like visualize, and it's a lot more simplified. The Loomis method is such a pain to have to like remember and draw every time you want to do a head. So the paper method just kind of simplifies it a bit more, but keeps the guidelines like just as strict. And then what I decided to do to end it off was, instead of looking at real life reference and using the methods I just learned, what I wanted to do was just use the Asaro head, which if you guys don't know, it's like the simplified model of a head which emphasizes all the three-dimensional like planes of it. So yeah, I just used that and did some more drawings using the paper method, and yeah, I think they turned out really nicely compared to all the other drawings of like heads I had done prior. So after I learned all those methods, what I did was, for the rest of the day, I just kept practicing them. I did as much as I could. I was just trying to like implant like the Loomis method guidelines in my head so that I wouldn't forget them. The 24 hours was now up because it was now time for me to go do my exams. So yeah, I went, I did them. It was horrible, but we don't talk about it. It is now time for the final step. Step 3. So now the amount of time that I set for myself at the beginning of the video is technically finished. It's been more than a day. In fact, it's been about a week. But yeah, after my exams, I needed some rest, and then I came back to it. I'm gonna stay true to the goal I set at the beginning. I haven't learned anything new, but now we need to see how much I've improved. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna redo what I did in step 1 of the video, and I'm gonna look at some references and try to draw them using all the techniques and stuff that I learned. Oh yeah, I'm drawing on a higher resolution canvas now, by the way. I don't know if you guys can notice, but my brush should look a lot less pixelated. Just realized I'm not really good at like drawing a realistic ear. I've kind of like always simplified ears down to like their basic shapes. I will admit, even though I was practicing these last couple of days a bit, I wasn't looking at any references. Guys have very angry eyebrows. See, this is why you should learn to use reference when you start learning art, but I thought it was like cheating, so I never did that. Might give it a bit of shading. Shape of this guy's cranium is kind of bizarre. You can see where I've made some mistakes, but I think the important thing is that now I can at least see where I've made mistakes. Next reference. Okay, the shape of this face is kind of off. This is surprisingly harder than the last one. It's because I'm used to like more square face shapes. I feel like even improving a little bit in a day of learning things is still really good. It took a lot longer than I wanted. Every time I say I'm gonna like do something quickly, it always takes so long. I have a bad habit of not looking at the reference. I look at the hair, see it's curly, but then I don't really like look at the reference again while I'm drawing it. Alright, I'm done. Okay, next one. Okay, I've done my kind of like realistic ones now. Next one we look at, I'm gonna try stylizing it. Now, one question I do have though for the eyes when you're doing them, always go from like one end of the circle. I like to exaggerate the eye bags on people. I don't know why. I just feel so off with the eyes. I just can't tell what it is. I'm gonna say I'm gonna stop doing like semi-realistic, and then I immediately did realistic. What's up with the eyes? What's happening? Alright, I'm just gonna stop touching it. Let's never look at those again. Okay, so I decided that this time, instead of doing a voiceover on the drawings, I was just gonna let you guys see me draw them and listen to me draw them in real time, so you can kind of see where my headspace is at. I still think they could be better, but if we compare them to the drawings I did in step 1 of the video, there is so much improvement. Like, yeah, the free drawings I just did, they're not exactly the same as the references, so I still need to improve on that front, but at least they're standalone decent drawings. So yeah, obviously I think I can still improve, but I also do think that since step 1 I have also improved a lot. Also, when I was practicing using the methods, like I said, I didn't use reference, so all the practice I did that I showed you guys, that was all from like imagination and me doing like stylized faces. So obviously when I look at realism, I'm not going to be able to do it as good. Now, in terms of method, I started doing a mix of the Loomis method and the paper method. Paper method was cool, but after a while I couldn't be asked drawing the paper each time, and as I kind of got better at like remembering the guidelines for the Loomis method, I just started doing it from memory kind of. In fact, some of the drawings I didn't even really do every single guideline for, just the main ones. Most of it was just from memory. So yeah, I think the methods, they helped me a lot. I really should have studied these methods when I was like newer to drawing. I could have been so much more advanced right now if I did. There was actually once I tried looking at reference, and that's when I drew this. I'm not gonna tell you guys who this is. If you think you know who it is, tell me in the comments and I'll let you know. So how much did I improve? Compared to the drawings before, my art style gained so much more consistency, because before I could not draw the same character twice, because the face would look so different each time. And in hindsight, I can tell that that's because of my lack of guidelines and structure. My art style developed a lot, especially with the way I do noses and lips. That changed a lot too. Now, things I didn't improve. I didn't really learn head anatomy that much because I didn't study anatomy. I only had a day, right? I'm not good at like emotions either, and like, you know, opened mouths, stuff like that. That's stuff you have to learn with reference, so that's kind of its own thing, I guess. Another thing I didn't improve at is drawing heads from the extreme high and extreme low angles, and from those angles the Loomis method can't help you much. But yeah, overall I think this was definitely a net positive. Also, I've been learning how to like color and stuff, and since the challenge has been over, I've tried to use my newfound knowledge of drawing the head to try and do some like colored and rendered pieces. But yeah, one of them has like very flat colors, and that's just because I wanted to do it for the thumbnail to show like a before and after. But the other one, I was trying to follow a Sam Does Arts tutorial. I think I might make a video on like coloring and stuff soon, so stay tuned for that. I've improved way more than I thought I would. Now obviously I didn't intend to make it just a day of learning. I would have rather made it a week, but I couldn't because of my exams. So if you did enjoy this video, subscribe, because I intend on doing a week-long version of this. I hope this either entertained you or inspired you, or both preferably. If I can learn this much just from a day, then I think anyone can. So yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe, please. Oh, dropped my water bottle.